Hey guys, today I am going to make cabbage rolls and I'm going to attempt to take you along with me. So let's see if we can get this going. The first thing you need to do is you need to have a cabbage. And because this is the kind of toward the end of summer sort of, it's not a bad sized cabbage to have. Cabbage is usually a cold weather produce, so sometimes it's hard to find it if it's not cool weather. So I found this one. I'm going to make a very small batch today. I usually make a large batch and freeze it, but this is the cabbage we could find. So the first thing I need to do is you take a knife, and it needs to be a kind of a sturdy knife. This one's pretty sturdy. I normally use ceramic knives, but I don't use one in this case because you can see I've already done it. But what you do is you work your way around, just doing like that, and then I pull the knife out, then I insert it again, and you keep going, working around like that, being careful of your fingers. And I remove the first top half of the core. Then I go in for the second part, and then I do the same thing, just work around. And after you have it kind of all worked around with the knife, then you kind of come in at a slant and pop it out of there. So that's basically what I do. And now next thing I'm going to do is put this in my Instapot to steam it. Okay, this is how I set up my Instapot. I put 2 cups of water in the bottom, put the trivet in there, and I'm going to place the cabbage with the core side down. Okay, I put my cabbage in the Instapot like I showed y'all, and I put it on steam for 6 minutes. And here's what we have to do next. Now, I'm taking it out of here with this fork. This stuff, I don't know if you can see the steam, probably can. Yeah, you can see the steam right there. This cabbage is super hot. So I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit, maybe 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. And then we will slowly work to remove the leaves. Now, my Instapot is not that old, so I'm not used to doing this. Usually I do this in a pot over the stove. So some of my leaves, may be a little bit too steamed. I didn't know. I was really guessing. That first one obviously is all broken, but I saved this cabbage because I put the loose cabbage leaves that aren't good enough to roll. I will put that around in there. So we'll let this cool off. That'll help, and then we'll start to peel the leaves. Okay, I transferred it to this plate so the air could kind of get around it. And it's still very hot, but what I do is just start to lift off the leaves, you see, and you start to get some steamed leaves that you can work with. And then I take another plate here and I just lay the leaves very loosely on top of one another. Now we're going to put together our meat mixture. This is the frozen ground beef that y'all saw me put away on the other video. So I'm just gonna put this ground beef in there, just like so. It's just defrosted. And then to that I am going to add 3/4 cup of rice, and this rice has been washed. Okay, make sure you wash your rice and get all that old starch and whatever else is lurking in there. Okay, so wet, rinsed rice, wash and rinse real good, and put that rice in there. And then also we're gonna add, I'll put the measurements all at the top because on the description below. We have chili powder in here. We have salt, pepper. Y'all know I'm gonna say it. Slap your mama. Slap your mama. Whatever seasoning you want, but you definitely want the chili powder in there because that's part of the flavoring. And then we're gonna add some bell peppers, some celery, some green onions. Let's see what else we got in here. Celery. A little bit of parsley. And the red you see is just some red bell pepper that I had. And the green onions, I got some. This is kind of funny, but I got some of the white parts of the green onion and some of the green part of the green onion. But when I was growing up, my mama never used the white part of the green onion. And I was kind of old before I realized why she never used the white part of the green onion. And that was because it was always in the ground. My dad grew green onions and we just trimmed them like I'm doing here. But I happen to have a few of the whole onions in the freezer, so I'm going to use those. But yeah, this recipe originally calls for tomato sauce, but I don't never buy tomato sauce. Like, never. I buy tomato paste. You want to know why that is? Because I'm not hauling home the water in the cans of tomato sauce. So I just get tomato paste and add my water at home. It's a lot lighter. I ain't carrying all that water home in those extra cans. So in here, I have a little bit of salt, pepper, and, you know, a little bit of the seasoning, a little bit of chili powder. And I have about 6 ounces of tomato paste here in this cup. And I'm going to, now the original recipe did call for tomato paste too, but I'm just going to make my, it was just to thicken up the sauce, truthfully. So I'm just going to make mine, you know, like so. Anytime it calls for tomato paste, tomato sauce, you won't find tomato sauce in my house. I always buy tomato paste or tomato puree. I'll buy stewed tomatoes, whole tomatoes. I'll buy anything but tomato sauce, because all tomato sauce is tomato paste with water added to it. So if you don't want to haul all that water in those cans home, you do like I'm doing. And I just mix it, I don't know, till I see. Add some sauce to your meat mixture. So, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get my hands in here. It's the only way to do it. It's the best way to do it. If you squeamish, you can wear gloves. But this is how it's done. And make sure your hands are clean. And this is all you do. You want to do it by hand because you have to make sure all that rice is incorporated really well with the... Now the rice, I don't know if I mentioned it, but the rice is raw. Rice is not cooked. And so, I'll pour a little bit of sauce in there. And what you're looking for is something that's kind of not really goopy, but very moist. Maybe like, sort of like a meatloaf, but a little bit moister, I would think. Okay, I want to show y'all what I did. Instead of adding the paste to the sauce to make it thicker, because I do need a thinner sauce that we're going to pour all over these. This is how I'm doing it. So that's why my cooking is hard to measure or, you know, tell y'all what I'm doing, because 90% of what I do is by eye. Okay, so that's how you want it. You see, you want it nice and rich, and it'll stay together, but it'll also drop. So you don't want it real tight. Wash your hands again. I'll be right back. Okay, what I did so far is in my pan is I put, this is a 9x13 Pyrex dish. My mom used to do it in a Dutch oven roaster pot, Magnolite pot. So you could pretty much do it however you want. I remember my mom doing it on the stove. I do mine in the oven, so whatever works. Okay, so here's your leaves. See, here's one of my leaves. Now, this is probably going to be one of my biggest leaves. But what I want to do is take some of this core out. Okay. Don't take all of it out. But I kind of just cut it like so. You know, like a V cut. Like that. Okay. Got my meat under here. And this is all just trial and error. But you want to put a little bit of meat, rice mixture. And this is how I do it. Cross, you know, you got your V that we cut out. You put it kind of like there. I just kind of cross it over, close up that V. Fold this over, fold that over, and roll it. You don't have to worry if they're not perfect. I mean, if they're not perfect, that don't matter. Get it in there. It'll all work. Let me show y'all another one here. Now, if your core is not real big, you can leave some of it. You know, it's just if it's so big, you don't want. My whole cabbage wasn't too big, so again, the same thing. I just kind of guesstimate it. Kind of cross it over. Take my ends, tuck them, and roll it. There you go. You just kind of tuck it up there, and I'll make sure they tight, you know, in there. Let me show y'all a little tiny one, little tiny leaf. I'm not even going to cut the core out of that one. I'm going to put a little bit in there because it's a baby one. Same thing. Here I just rolled it straight. So you can make them tiny. You know, the leaves. Look how little that one is. Okay, we'll just try to. And I just make it fit, you know, like a puzzle. Let me see if there's. I think that's probably the smallest leaf that I'm going to have. So I'm just going to continue doing this. And once you get it going and you don't have to make sure you're in the shot and all that, you know, for a video, it goes fast. Especially once you've done it a while. And like I said, if it see how this one like is kind of small and it's getting to the end, like you just make it work. Tuck it in there, make it work. Some people put toothpicks. My mom never did. I never do. You know, they'll, as they cook, once they cook, they're going to stay together. You know. And if they don't, for whatever odd reason, if they fall apart, just call it cabbage rice casserole. Nobody will know the difference if you didn't tell them. Okay, see, like that. And now one thing you want to do it gently, because you know your cabbage can tear if you don't do it gently. But if you do it gently and you just kind of, and sometimes like here, this core is a little stiff. You see how that, so if it didn't steam really well, or you know, whatever. See, this one's small, but the core feels very thick. If the core feels thick, then you want to take it out. Okay, see, roll it, tuck your sides, basically like an egg roll, except this is a cabbage roll, and this one you see wants to, now if you see what I'm doing there, it wants to be kind of not cooperate with me. I'll take some of the meat out. If you feel it's not cooperating, you might have a little bit too much filling, so you just take a little bit out and roll it. And these are teeny tiny, some of them, but it's because it's not cabbage season, quote, and the store has little bitty. You saw how small that cabbage was. Now in the wintertime, you're going to be able to buy bigger cabbages at the store, and so you might want to wait and do it there. But you can see it's doable. Okay, I got all these wrapped. No meat, no cabbage. Everything worked out evenly, but I have a little bit of cabbage left. Let me get all this out of the way. It's like a cooking show, but nobody here to do the dishes. So, what I have is the little bitty baby parts of the cabbage. And this is what I like to do because I really like cabbage a lot. So, you want to take that sauce and you want to pour it all over this. And it's kind of hard. I was blocking y'all. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm pouring the sauce. Like I said, it's like a cooking show, but just bad camera angles. Nobody to do the dishes. You know, that kind of stuff. Other than that, it's a cooking show. So, here I got the, like I said, the little pieces. And what my mom used to do, and I'd like to do the same thing because I really like cabbage, is I just take it and kind of, again, take the hard part out, that middle stem. And you can do it a couple of ways. You can lay it on top. You can chop it up, like even the very middle. What we do is we take that middle of the cabbage and kind of chop it up. You want your rolls to be sitting in that sauce. Or at least that's the way I like it. Try to get around this camera. Okay. Yeah, and if any of y'all, you know, feel the need to critique anybody, I don't care if you critique mine. I really don't. You know, I've seen people be really ugly to other people. And all I got to say to that, well, I got a couple of things to say to it, is one, if you think the need to critique somebody's video so bad that you can't just pass it over without saying anything critical, and I'm not talking about, you know, something, a nice suggestion or something, but if you can't pass it over without saying something mean, try to make a video yourself. And then, you know, you'll kind of understand a little better that we're not professionals or nothing, and we don't have camera crews or sous chefs or nothing like that. Okay, so this is how it goes. And another thing I was taught, if you're in somebody else's house, you respect them. If you don't like what you see here or what's going on, you know, just leave. Same thing with somebody's channel. If you don't like what you see or you hear, or you think it's stupid or whatever, you know, just back out. Just leave. It's easy. Okay, I'm going to cover this with foil tightly, and then we're going to put it in, okay guys, 400 degrees for about, mine took a little over an hour. But, you know, you just watch. I go by smell. When I'm cooking something, that's how I go, by smell. So as soon as you can start to smell it, you take a little piece and you try out the rice. But I did that. Let me get my arm out of the view. And so I tested the rice, and you see you're going to have juice at the bottom, which I absolutely love. And I just put me a bunch of juice on top. So I'm going to kind of cut this open, or open it up so you can see what the inside looks like. Okay, it's rice and meat, and what you want to make sure, your meat is going to cook. You want to make sure that the rice is, you know, cooked. So back home I find rice cooks a little quicker at a lower altitude, but here it takes more moisture to cook rice, and it takes longer. But anyway, you know, the cook gets to test, so you can make sure that the rice is cooked. And oh my god, this is good. Y'all gotta try this dish. I know it kind of looks a little tedious maybe for those of you who want, you know, just like quick cooking, but do it in steps. You can do the, you know, steam all the cabbage, stack it up like I had it, cover it with plastic wrap and let it sit, and go back and do, you know, the rolling another time. You can even do it later in the evening or whatever. You know, make it work. This is going to be worth your time. Cabbage rolls. My mom has made this for as long as I can remember, and she got it from a dear friend of hers, Miss Grace Bonet. And yeah, and you know, it's kind of been twisted, changed, I'm sure, over the years, because I've changed it a little bit from what I remember my mom doing. But regardless, it's still the same dish, and I have great memories of it, and I really love it. So I hope y'all give it a try. Cabbage rolls, and I'll talk to y'all soon.